we will return with our special guest tonight. His name is Cole Glasson. If it's a name you're not familiar with, you will be. This young man is, I called him a wonderkind in my promotions this morning on our social media. He is the star of tomorrow who's making his dreams happen today. He's amazing, and we'll get a chance to speak with him when we return. You're listening to Drafting the Circuits on Hoobazoo.com and the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com. We'll be right back. To Drafting the Circuits right now, and we have our special guest on the line. This is Cole Glasson. Cole, welcome to Drafting the Circuits. Crate set this interview up. We're really pleased about that, and we're glad you're here tonight.
Yep, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's our pleasure. First of all, I want to let everybody know, if we can, that you're rather young for the job that you're doing right now. You're running the Southeast Super Trucks. Are we allowed to know your age, or do you just give a range?
You do know that I'm young, but yeah, I'm 14 years old.
Yeah, but as Crate was bragging on you when we were on break, the age has no bearing on your performance and your confidence, because you're tearing it up out there. Tell us a little bit about, Cole, where your love of racing started and when you actually got behind a steering wheel in your life.
Well, I actually had no experience in racing, but every year my parents would take me out to the Indy 500. And when I was 5 years old, they asked me if I wanted to start out in go-karts. And my answer was a definite yes. And soon enough, I had my own little go-kart, and it was just a hobby then. But over time, it grew into a career, and at the age of 11, I got into full-size cars.
Super do. So you certainly had a calling for it. The hobby soon became a goal to get in and stay in a race car. And is it something you'd like to make a career, Cole? I mean, I would say at this point at 14, it looks like you're on that path.
Yeah, I would say that God will lead me in the right path, and it's all in His hands. Right now, I'm just trying to gain experience, and just going to see where it takes me. I'd like to make it big, but I'm just going to see where He leads me to go.
Well, good for you. That's a sound way of looking at things. Talk to me a little bit about what the Southeast Super Trucks has meant to you this season and the experience you're gaining and gathering. Give us a little bit about what that process is like, and how, I'll make it a two-part question, and how involved are you in the setup of the truck and hanging out in the garage and just absorbing all that information? Because at 14, I would gather schooling is a part of your daily life too.
Yeah, right when I started the series, it was just all about gaining experience, and I've definitely achieved that through the last couple months. I've gained so much experience, probably more than I ever have, and it's paid off. I've had a lot of good finishes this season.
Absolutely.
And I've been trying to learn as much as I can, but as you know, the truck is really complicated, and I think over the time I'll get more used to it and get more used to how the car works and setups and everything, but overall I've gained a lot of experience.
Absolutely true. Okay. All right. So where would you like to see your path go? I know you said pretty much you're leaving it up to God and the opportunities that come your way, but is there a 5-year plan or even a 1-year plan in place at this point, Cole?
At this point, I think next year we're going to stay in the Southeast Super Truck Series and try to contend for a championship win. This year we're really trying to get a Rookie of the Year. We're not far out of it. There's still a chance, but I think next year we'll have a much better chance at going for the championship. And
of course.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Crate has something for you. Crate, if you...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was...
That's okay. Were you muted?
Was multitasking. No, I was multitasking, and, you know, Cole is being so gracious here. I want to brag on him a little bit. He's run 10 truck races this year. Now, these are against veterans.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our guys have won championships at different tracks throughout the Southeast. He's run 10 races. He's had 3 top 5s. He's had 8 top 10s. Out of 10 races, the kid's finished in the top 10 8 times. I've watched him just grow this summer. And Kingsport wasn't really good to him the first time he went there. Probably the worst race he's had so far. Got involved in a wreck and tore the truck up pretty good. He went back this time, and I knew because one of his crew members is one of my neighbors, and he had told me he was a little bit gun shy about going back to Kingsport, but probably had one of the best. I think he had the best run he'd had all year. He ran side by side with Caleb Presley, which is the grandson of Bob Presley. And anybody knows anything about late model racing in the Southeast, Bob was just a terror in the South. Caleb took him to school, and Cole passed with flying colors that night. He probably worked on Caleb for 20 laps, and Caleb wasn't nice to him, but he got by him. He finished third in the race, had the fastest truck on the racetrack, turned the fastest lap of the whole race with about 15 laps to go. You know, and Cole is so, he's not drawn to the spotlight here. He's pretty laid back, you know, but I got to brag on him because it is what it is. He's run a total of 312 races in his career.
Good
and he
gosh.
just turned 14 years old. A lot of that was in midget cars and in the Ford Focus Sprints and go-karts. And this year, I think he'd run 9 late models. Is that right, Cole? About 9 late model races?
Yes.
And then with the full body cars, and then this year with the trucks. So he's had a phenomenal year. It's been so great for me to sit and watch him grow. And like I said, he's the real deal. And I'm already wanting to sign up and be his motorhome driver because this kid's going somewhere, you know. I'm telling you.
I don't doubt that.
And I'm just hoping that he's going to hang around and race with us again next year. I hope he's not going to run on up the steps. I know I'm probably putting him in a corner right here for an answer, but I hope he's not going to just leave us and move on to bigger and better things. I hope he sticks around with us another year.
Yes, I will.
See that? Right here on radio. We've got it.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Cole, are you in a regular high school situation or middle school, high school, or are you tutored at this point because of the schedule that you're keeping with your racing?
Yeah, middle school. I'm a freshman this year, but in middle school, I could handle missing a couple days for racing, but it's a whole different story in high school, so I moved to online school, and it pretty much just works around my schedule, so that's helped me a lot.
Okay, well, very cool. So I'm wondering if racing, you mentioned it started as a hobby, and then it's grown into what it's become, and Crate just gave a whole big brag on what you've been able to accomplish already at your age. Are there other hobbies or other interests that you have, Cole, or is racing really the end-all, be-all for you in your life?
I love to race, but I also like to spend time with my family. I like to go running with my dad, and when I have a chance, I love to go fishing. I have my own kayak.
Nice.
And take it out on the lake and go fishing for a couple hours.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So, is your family a huge part of the racing deal for you? Are they at every event and every venue, and are they a big part of the team itself, or are they simply just your biggest fans?
They're a little bit of both. My mom and dad are my biggest fans, but they also support me a lot at the racetrack. My dad's at every race, and when my mom can take off her job, she always comes to all the races she can, and without them, I want to be where I am today.
No doubt, man.
See, and that's one thing I want to jump in and say, you know, I mean, not only does he come to all these races, Cole lives in Grand Prairie, Texas. So they have to fly into all of the races, and all of our races are in the Carolinas, Southwest Virginia, East Tennessee, which this weekend's race will be in Newport Motor Speedway in Newport, Tennessee. So these guys, they leave Texas on about a Thursday, and they're like late Sunday night getting home. So it's a huge undertaking, and my hat's off to his parents. Great people. Have put all the support behind Cole, and they've made a huge commitment to get him into some good stuff, and to be a part of this series, and you know, there's so many kids that this is happening with, you know, all over the country, you know, but we're just glad Cole's with us. So
oh, indeed.
Just want to throw that out there. I know one race his mom missed because maybe his mom and dad missed because his sister graduated, And it was funny to kind of watch that because he had some adoptive parents looking out for him all weekend long. And you saw a lot of people on the telephone, so you knew what was going on, you know.
Well, I was wondering, Cole, tell me about what drivers in any series, whatever series you may happen to follow, do you look up to, whether it's the Southeast Super Trucks with the guys you've been running with, or in NASCAR, or whatever. You know, you mentioned that you used to go to the Indy 500, so maybe an IndyCar. Some of the names that, as you were growing up and continue to grow up, are those mentors, or at least people you are fans of as drivers?
Right now, in the big leagues, my favorite driver is Carl Edwards. I think he just has a good attitude towards everything.
Absolutely.
He's a good role model for everybody. And also Jimmy Johnson. He's one of my favorite NASCAR drivers. But in my series, I look up to Randy Porter because he's dominant in almost every race. And he just has a good team and a good attitude and good race ethic.
Sweet. Very cool. Now, I know Greg Warren on our panel, he wanted to know about college. If you have any plans for college, or are you thinking more about motorsports as the career and experience that you're looking to get in those early, late teens and early 20s?
Now that I'm in high school, I'm definitely starting to look at college, and I definitely want to go there. If it turns out that racing is not my path, I want to be able to have a degree and make a living. But yeah, now that I'm starting high school, we're starting to focus a lot on college.
Okay. Have you been able to get down, I know you are from Texas, and I know it's a vast, huge place, so I'm not great with the geography, but have you been to any of the tracks down there to see some racing there when you have some time?
Yeah, we're not that far from TMS. We're about 45 minutes, and we sometimes go out there to watch the truck races, or I think we've been to a couple cup races there.
Fantastic.
There's not too many tracks around here for oval racing. I think there's one in Austin and one in Houston, but it's not as big here as it is on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Cole, let me ask you to share with our listeners. I know a track you went and visited. You weren't able to watch the race there because it rained it out, or they had some rain in the area and they postponed some stuff. But tell our listeners what your thoughts of Bristol Motor Speedway were when you guys got to stop by there and check that out.
As they say, it is the last great Coliseum, but it's amazing. It's just like a giant bowl, and since it's just like a bowl that's so loud inside, but they fly around there from all the banking, it's really cool to watch.
Okay. Well, I was curious about the Southeast Super Truck schedule that you've been running. Are there tracks that already you could say, definitely a favorite, not that keen on, can't wait to go back to? Where are you in those kinds of ideas about the tracks you've seen so far?
I'm really looking forward to Newport this week because it's so high bank that the trucks fly around there. I think I'm averaging one of the highest speeds I ever have, even in late models. Last year we raced at Lucas Oil Speedway, where we averaged well over 100. Newport's small, and I'm forward to that track.
Yeah, it's rated as a 0.4 of a mile track. I think that's a little overrated. I don't think it's quite that big, but you turn that place in 13 seconds.
Wow!
So it's a really, really, really fast track. Hey, Cole, Gray Warren has got some questions. Gray actually works for RCR, Richard Childers Racing, and he's been around racing. Well, when he started racing, they had wooden wheels. That's how long he's been around. But he's got a question for you about some of the racing you've done on dirt. Go ahead, Gray.
Yeah, we had to hook up the plow horse when we raced. Cole, have you done any dirt track racing so far earlier in your career?
Yes, last year I did a couple dirt races. I was in the 600cc wing mini sprint, and we rent the car out from one of our good friends, and that was a lot of fun. I'm definitely more into asphalt, but it's just something fun to do and get good experience on if I ever need it.
Do you think the dirt helped in the transition, helped you with your car feel, and the transition into asphalt?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. It helps you develop better car control since you're sliding around all the place. If you were to go back on asphalt, you'd know what to do if you were sliding But yeah, it definitely helps with the car control and all that.
Good.
Well, now with dirt experience, asphalt experience, everything you're doing with the trucks, I'm thinking I'd love to see you eventually get into ARCA and then parlay that into NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and then take that where it can go. Is that sort of the plan that you would tentatively put together with your family and your mentors?
Yeah, I think that it's a step ladder, and that's definitely part of the path that I've considered to take.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
It's hard to make all these huge decisions at 14.
I know it.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I have
And he just turned 14, folks. He just turned 14.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, I'm very proud that he's a part of the Southeast Super Truck Series. Cole has raised quite a few eyelids this year. The talent that this kid's got is unreal, and I know he wants to talk about the people that's helped to get him there, especially Mark Nesbitt and his team. I mentioned Ronnie Davis is my neighbor, and I know he's a huge part of Cole's team there too. But Cole, I'll let you go ahead and take care of that.
And most of all, I'd just like to thank God and my parents, because without them, I wouldn't be anywhere near I am today. I also like to thank Pro Soap and Technical Solutions and K1 Race Gear, and my agent MPM Marketing.
Fantastic.
Well, there you go. Now you guys spoken like a true professional right there, right?
Yeah, I was picturing Rusty Wallace doing that thing, who was better than him. I know that our producer and former panelist, Keith Hayes, Sinister One, would like to ask you a question, Cole, because he has a son who is very interested in racing, and he'll tell you the rest.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm very impressed by this young man. He's holding it down well, answering the questions well. I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, wow. And I have a quick question for you, 2 questions. Did you race kart? Did you start out in kart at all?
Yes, I started out in the lowest level of karting, and I think I moved up about 4 different classes before I got into cars, but I raced karts for 6 years before I got into cars, and that's where I got all my... Those are on road courses, but it still gave me a lot of experience.
Nice. Well, my son's at this point, he's 15 now. He's 6 feet tall. He's 250 pounds. And he's at this point in kart where he's a little too big to race in the Remo karts now. And for the last couple of years, they've been trying to get him up to Seekonk to race the S10 trucks, or they want to get him into the midget cars. I myself, as a parent, I'm not kind of ready to move him up yet, but I'm hearing you and I'm seeing you racing in this Super Trucks series, and you sound like you're doing very well. So if I'm looking at this at his perspective, should I say there should be no worries for me as a father, and should I allow him to move up, because he's at that point now where he's asking me where he wants to move up to midgets or trucks?
Wow.
I think it's all about seat time. No matter what you do, you always have to get as much track time as you can. The more track time, the more experience you get, and the better off you'll be for the races.
Nice. So that's something I think I'll have to really think about. But yeah, he's gotten way too big for COD series. The kids can't even catch up with him with the weights that they got to put in to make it a fair race. So it's time to move on. Man, thank you. You're great interview.
You were talking about having to put weight in to make the all of it equal. I think Cole's truck's got about 6,000 pounds of lead in it. I guess I'm lying, but there is quite a bit in there. Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's a lot. Well, Cole, we wish you continued success in the Southeast Super Trucks this year and next, and wherever else you're racing and academic future takes you. We hope that you'll continue to come back and tell us how you're doing and where you're going next, as we consider you a friend of the program. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure on our part. I mean, everybody, we have a chat between the hosts. I see chat for our radio station. People are very impressed with you. You handle yourself beautifully. And again, continued success. We just think you're great.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
you guys
Cole.
have a safe trip in, and I'll see you Saturday in Newport, Tennessee.
Yep, see you then.
All right, man. Thank you. Good night.
Good luck, Cole.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that Cole Glasson is a name that you will hear again and again, not just from us here at Drafting the Circuits.